It's Sunday. Tomorrow we'll be down at the shed working on the Captain Fantastic pinball machine again. And in the last video we talked a little bit about trying to add more lights to the play field. Well, in order to do that, we're going to need to know where to place those lights. So we figured that the easiest way to do that would be to print off a template of the back glass and put it down on the wood and mark all the spots where LEDs ought to be attached. So that's what I'm going to do right now. It's going to be a quick little thing. We took a picture of the back glass. I'm going to square it up, correctly size it, and then print it out on large sheets of paper, tape them together to make a full-size scale of the back glass that we can then just tape down to the back board and mark. So normally I would use Photoshop for doing this and a program called BigPrint by Matthias Wendel, another great woodworking YouTuber. I'll probably put a link down below to his website where you can get the BigPrint if you're interested. It's a fabulous tool for doing stuff like this. Anyway, I would, like I said, I would normally use Photoshop, but I'm going to use GIMP today just because it's free and there's a lot of people out there who may not have access to Photoshop. So I'll use a free tool for doing the squaring up. So with that, let's get to the screen capture. Okay, as you can see, I already have the GIMP program loaded. GIMP is a free to use piece of software that rivals Photoshop in some areas and is a little lacking in others, but it is definitely a usable program, and it has that wonderful benefit of being free. So I'm going to start by loading the file I want to edit. And that's the image we're going to modify. And you'll notice there's a little keystoning of the screen. It's narrower at the bottom than it is at the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my rectangular selection tool to select just the screen. I'm going to catch the farthest out part of the screen. And once I've done that, I'm going to go into Image, Crop to Selection, and that makes my image rectangular and everything fills out. Now all I'm going to do is over here on the left, I'm going to use the perspective tool to change the perspective, which will basically let me pull those corners out to where they need to be to fill up that rectangular box. And there's a little bit up here at the top. I think that's fairly close. So I hit the transform, and it takes a second, and there you go, the image has been transformed. Now the next thing I need to do is scale the image to the size I need, and this back glass is 35.5 inches wide by 25.75 inches tall. So I believe there's an image, scale image. So I will set that to inches, and again the width is 38.5. And 28, sorry, 28.5, and it should be 25.75. So I'm going to break the link that makes it keeps the aspect ratio, and change this to 0.75, and hit scale, and that changes my image to the scale that I just did. And now all I need to do is export it out. File, export as a JPEG image, and I'm going to just stick this in the desktop right now. I wonder where I name it. Oh, right up there. So I'm going to just call this scaled screen.jpg, and I'll say export. And that's it. I have used GIMP to create an image, and now I'll go ahead and close this down. I don't need to save it, so. And now I'm going to load Matthias Wendel's BigPrint program. Which is a wonderful program that lets you scale images and print them across multiple pieces of paper. So I'm going to open the image I just saved, and I save this one to the desktop. So let's see if I can find it, and I called it scaled. Scaled screen, and it pulls it up, and you can see this thing is currently set up to use my 11x17 printer, which is actually out of ink, so I can't print it there. But you can see how it divides it up into multiple sheets. It also reduces the amount of color by only keeping high color at the transition points, and otherwise it lightens the color up so it doesn't waste a lot of color, and it prints it out. So I'll have to go up to my print settings, configure printer, and I'll pick a different printer. I'll apply that. I think I can just X out of this, and it'll, there you go. So now that I've done that, it has changed the size of the paper to 8.5 by 11 paper, and it's now scanning 12 sheets of paper. So I can now print this out, and once I've done that, I'll be able to tape these pieces of paper together, and you'll notice these little green diagonal lines. Those make it really easy to get accurate alignment when you're printing it out. So I'll go ahead and print this out. I'm not going to capture that or show that, but when I get done, I'll go ahead and tape these things all together, and then I'll bring you back for a quick shot to show you what that looks like. So stay tuned. Well, the light's not best here at the dining room table, but here's what it looks like once all the pieces of paper are taped together. I used a little paper trimmer to trim off the little white borders so they didn't stick out. And I've taken a tape measure and measured it, and it is the correct size. A little bit off maybe, but not enough that it's going to cause any major issues. So tomorrow we'll take this, cut it apart a little bit to get it to fit around all of the little light screens that are on the back box, and put this down and start marking where we want to put the new LEDs. So I'll show you that next.